Hey you guys, I guess this one's going to be about a homemade attachment here. So there's my $1,000 1973-ish maybe Kubota. Dang goats. Shut up! Trying to make a YouTube video, you stupid idiots. This was a fork attachment when I was super poor, lost a house, was kind of halfway homeless, living in a truck trying to get my garage empty that I had lost in the middle of the winter. But I still had access to the garage and I still had power and a welder. So I was just grabbing steel that I'd piled up forever and, you know, projects that never got done. It was like, man, it's now or never and I'm going to need this thing. So I just was making stuff left and right. So this originally was from the scrapyard. This center section was a fork attachment from a Raymond electric indoor warehouse fork truck. And it was one of those scissor styles that booms in and out between the legs to pick up like a small pallet and put it up on pallet rack shelving. And it had forks on it. It had the fork rack and it had a side shuttle, which made it really narrow. The forks were really narrow, but you could side shuttle a little bit like this. So I bought it from the scrapyard by the pound, like 30 cents a pound. So I probably had $150 in it, something like that. At the time, forks were like $400-500. And there was no way I could come up with the money. You know, you don't have savings when you're losing a house. You have zero. You're going days without eating sometimes. So I had made it into a fork attachment for my Bobcat. So this is where the top hooks in and this is where the bottom hooks in. But then the Bobcat blew up sometime later and this was all I had for lifting up all the stuff. So I adapted the pins on and I had to make this top link mount be really slender so that it still fits the Bobcat. So this still fits my Bobcat. But I'm always taking this attachment off, and because of the limitations, I built it for the Bobcat and where I could fit the pins. You see how much material. I could only fit the pins down there, which was too low, so I can't put it down unless I'm putting it on a pallet. So it's a pain in the butt to take this off all the time, but I need forks all the time. And then I need a trailer mover all the time. So the other day, I cut out a notch right here. I put in a receiver tube and I put this trailer ball in here. And it gets low enough for almost all of my trailers, but it also gets high enough for a gooseneck or for my pintle trailers, which most of my trailers are heavy-duty backhoe pintle type. I think that I will eventually add a grapple to it when the Bobcat's back together, forks with a hydraulic finger in the center, so that you got, you know, two forks out here and a finger to grab. That's the best way to grab logs. It really, really is. Because you can grab them offset. They can want to teeter and flip off to the side, but you can clamp them down and they don't fall. So it's very, very handy. And eventually I will put a hydraulic beak in the center, but I'm looking at it now, starting to think about how could I rig a winch. I put these hooks in there so that this now becomes a butt plate for pulling logs. I can stick a little boom pole in there with my tongs for when there's a log I can't get a choker underneath. You can pull up to it with this, hook it with your tongs, get it up off the ground, put a choker, and then you can hook that choker here. When I do have forks on it, you just put a belt around here, a chain here, and loop the chain around to this side, and you can carry a 55-gallon drum full of liquid or, you know, feed or whatever you want. I've got a bunch of vegetable oil drums that I need to move, so that was the first thought, was how to make it so I could slide them up on the forks and not lose the drum and have it dump out on the ground. I do have an electric winch that plugs in to this, which is remote control, and it's pretty nice, but it's slow. And the charging system on this is only a 10 amp generator, so I need to convert it to like a 100 amp alternator. And maybe I should just stick with the idea of the electric. It's probably time and money ahead to just, you know, my electric one's on a receiver. I just plug it in, pin it, and I'm done. So I guess maybe it is time that I finally pull off that generator and figure out the brackets and the voltage regulator and stuff to put on a real alternator so that I can actually run a winch, because I've got a lot of use for that. So anyhow, just some piece of crap that I built from nothing. You know, when you got nothing else to work with. So a pile of metal is what I had, and you could buy the electricity and the wire and the gas as you can afford it. If you can't afford it this month, well, next month's going to roll around sure enough. So, you know, the pile just sits there and it waits patiently until you got the time and the resources to make it into something. And once you got it, then it looks easy. Oh, why didn't I think of that? Oh, that guy's got it made. Oh, blah, blah. Yeah, it's pretty hard when you're the one It's been waiting 10 years to have a garage, but once you got it, oh man, look at that guy. He's so lucky. That's how it goes. Thanks for watching. Praise the Lord.